Let's speak about alerts, because as much fun as it is to sit and watch our charts playing out on our multiple screens and watching as price interacts with the FLD or perhaps reaches up to a target, it is much more useful to receive an alert when price either interacts with an FLD or perhaps reaches its target. And so in NinjaTrader, we can receive alerts when those events occur. Alerts are displayed in NinjaTrader in the alerts log. Here is the recent alerts log, and you can see that I have received several alerts from various different charts. The alert is tagged according to instrument, of course, and the source column is displayed by default. You can right-click in your alerts log and go to properties, and you can change the columns that are displayed. You can customize your alerts log. I'm not going to go into the detail of that here because that's really NinjaTrader functionality. The FLD alerts are by default medium priority alerts. Here is the time at which the alert was generated, and here is the message, and you can see the message includes first of all the time frame of the chart which either generated the alert, or if it's a multiple time frame target alert, then it will provide the time frame from which the target was generated. As is the case with this first alert that you can see over here, it is gray in color to match the color of our multiple time frame targets, and you can see it was generated by the M15 time frame data, in other words 15-minute time frame, and it is an alert for the 6-hour bull target having been reached. When an alert is generated by one of the three primary cycles on our charts, you can see that the alert is color-coded to show the matching cycle. In other words, either the signal cycle, the mid-cycle, or the sequence cycle that relates to the alert. Following the time frame that generated the alert, there is some detail about the alert. In this case, you can see low price touched the 100-minute FLD. The alert also tells us whether we are expecting a potential cross, such as we see in this example, and it is an F category price cross. The different options here, of course, are for potential support or potential resistance, and in each case it will provide the category of interaction that is expected when price interacts with that FLD. Here are the properties that we can adjust for our alerts. First of all, you can see that we have a specification for the alert conditions. At the moment, and by default, all possible conditions are alerted. If we click on this property, you can see here the options. We can disable alerts entirely for a chart by selecting Alert None. We can also specify that we only wish to receive alerts when we are expecting a cross. In other words, we're expecting price to cross the FLD, an interaction with the FLD at an acceleration point, when we are expecting price to cross that FLD, travel further, and reach a target. On the other hand, you could choose to only be alerted when the indicator is expecting the FLD to provide either support or resistance. When we discuss trading with the indicator, you will discover that there is an approach to trading the FLD which does not trade price crossing the FLD, but actually waits for price to find support or resistance at the FLD following a price cross. That provides us with a high probability trading opportunity. The other possibility is to only alert when we are expecting an A category price cross of the FLD. This is perhaps the most popular price cross to trade, when price approaches the FLD and we're expecting an A category because an important trough is formed in the market. That is a popular trading opportunity, and so you might want to be alerted only to your A category trades. Similarly, you might want to be alerted to both your A and your F category trading opportunities, in which case you would select this option over here. This This will alert you when price interacts with an FLD and we are expecting an A category price cross, in other words, a potential long trading opportunity, and it will also alert you on the short side when price comes down to the FLD and we are expecting an F category interaction, which is where price crosses below the FLD and moves down into the next sequence cycle trough. The next option under our alerts properties is to be alerted when a target is reached. This can be checked or unchecked. The targets are of course a very powerful feature of the Sentient FLD indicator. In fact, you have probably noticed these targets at the top of this price move just several minutes ago. Well, this is a 5-minute chart, so I suppose about 45 minutes ago. But this kind of thing you will see time and again on your charts where price reaches a target. And here you can see it has reached the 6-hour target, and then it reaches the 6-hour target on the 15-minute time frame as well. There is that slight difference between those time frames, with the more accurate target being the signal cycle on the 15-minute chart. And so being alerted when a target is reached is a very useful thing. The other settings for our alerts are sound files that will play when either the FLD is touched, that's the touch alert sound file, and then we have a sound file that will be played when a target is reached. Now, by default, these sound files have been provided for you, and when you installed the Sentient FLD indicator, they were installed to your system. If you would rather have a different sound file played when the alert occurs, then get in touch with support and we will explain where to place your sound files in order for that to happen.